Science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? Are you funny like I'm a clown, an illusion?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death? Yeah, so fuck up and die.
You freaking
Yeah, dude. I wish I knew how to tit for tat, man, dude. Like, I feel like there is people
wish
who
I
can
could
write
tit for tat, bro.
who write like single, because like, you know, me and you, we love one location movies or 24-hour movies.
Oh, yeah.
We're a fan of those films, but like that's kind of what like most plays are. Or like one room. Like,
Yeah,
but
I really love.
It's crazy.
I should watch more plays, but as a cinephile, I like the next best thing at home where my cheap ass can go is to watch movies that are based on plays, and I love them. You know what I mean? It's like mostly I love them because it's like
I'm always impressed.
A dialogue heavy, limited location, character driven
they're
drama.
all like character driven because it's like, like they have to be character driven because that's all it is. It's just the characters. You
What
don't
are you
really
gonna
have
do?
like cinema on
There's
stage.
no action set pieces. You know what I mean?
like you can have some like really beautiful choreography and
sure.
you know, great stage hands.
Oh,
Is it called?
yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they get great. So, this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. Jordan over there, Levi over here. We're actually in the same time zone, so it's not even. It's over there and over here. Yeah.
I know, dude.
But,
it's
for
but
once-
one day we'll be in the same room.
One day.
I just don't know how to drive or get my act together.
I mean, I'd go there, but maybe if I can. We just do it in your car. You know what I mean?
I know where. It's like on the one mic, I guess. Really.
Yeah, I just show up at Victoria's parents' house, be like, "Yo, I'm here for the podcast."
Yeah, they loving arms. They welcome you and send you down to this basement where I do the deed.
Yeah, the deed. So we're talking about, you know, obviously.
Speaking
again,
of
you know the thing.
deeds,
We're talking about plays. We're talking about
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
I always have like
no. You always want to say Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Every time, dude, I'm like, Who Framed Virginia Rabbit, man? I don't know.
Who Framed Virginia Rabbit? That's what it should be called. Well, do you know what apparently it is? I was like, okay. I just got to start off real quick before we do any synopsis. I don't know how to do a synopsis for this movie. I don't understand a single thing. I feel so dumb. This is like the third time I've seen this movie. I don't understand what is happening.
Yeah, I had to. It took me a sec of stewing, and I had to like look up a thing or two. But
yeah.
No,
but anyways, the name is
synopsis.
based off of Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf is an old Disney riff or something. I don't know.
Fix your mic.
Anyways,
you're out of control.
Okay. I don't get. Yeah.
I'm
Can you hear
watching
me?
your levels, and they're like, you're like blasting into the red, and then you're just like halfway there, and I'm like, I don't want to edit this, and I won't. Poor listeners.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Right before I get deep into it, this is it.
Tell me. All right, the play.
Don't adjust your dial. Do you want to know the synopsis?
No, you said you were going to say something before the synopsis.
No, it was just that. The name of this comes from a Disney. And that's what this movie is. It's all references. And so I'm like, I don't understand a thing. I'm just kind of like, the whole time I'm like, well, this is nice. But anyways,
yeah, it definitely does seem like there was some references that were like, oh, okay, I'm obviously too hip and young to get that cultural reference or whatever. But, you know, most of it seems pretty self-contained and more like in the lingo of the era more like than anything.
Well, sure. I mean, I got context clues from like the conversation and the acting because it was all superb.
The biggest,
but like
the opening, someone was like on Reddit is like if they did if they remade it, which they shouldn't, but if they did, like what would be the conversation to start at the beginning? Like, what a dump, you know what I mean? That whole spiel they have at the beginning about like the movie. She's trying to
riffing off a different movie, right? Yeah.
And I'm like, what would be the modern one? I don't even know.
Dude, it's going to be The Crow with Skarsgård and that other girl that's coming out there. yeah. That's what it's going to be. What's her name?
Oh, what a crow. Anyway.
Yeah, what a crow.
Do you want to? Here, we'll fumble through it. So
you give. I mean, my synopsis is like is like an old married couple who work in the, some. I don't even know if it's Ivy League. I don't even know what
we're gonna
college
keep it tight. We're gonna keep it tight.
And
so
they invite at the most unreasonable hour. They invite a younger couple over,
it's like 1 a.m.
who's like, it was 2 a.m. when they said they're gonna come, and then it was like 2:30 when they showed up.
It's crazy.
And then they were there all night until the sun came up. It was wild.
So Martha and George are a middle-aged married couple that are very much tit for tat, kind of, they got like kind of this snappy way they talk to each other. They come home. George is
they're very rooted in their relationship.
Yeah,
and they seem really
absolutely.
comfortable with each other and confident. Yeah.
Comfortable, but maybe don't like each other much, as some old couples do that wear on each other, but they have a rhythm that they work together, right?
They kind of have a mutual respect for each other, I guess,
sure.
if you will. It's not
for sure.
dying love.
It's a complex relationship. Let's leave it at that.
Sure.
For now. So they, Martha is the daughter of the dean of the college that George works at. He works there as the history professor, not the history department. But he's like failing to move up. But they meet these new couple that they met at a party beforehand. Martha invited them over. This new couple, which the script and like online says Nick and Honey are their names, so I will refer to them as that. But I'm pretty sure they don't mention their names once in the movie. Actually, they say Honey, but they also call him Babe and Monkey Tits and stuff. So it's just like
right. But Nick calls her Honey at the beginning.
Okay,
but
Honey,
I don't think
it's
she
like
ever
Babe.
says,
You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, and I don't think her name's really Honey. I think that's the whole point. But
anyway, so this young couple comes over. The man, Nick, we'll call just for ease of access. He is, works in not the math department. He's in he's in biology, and he's the up and comer. So we got these two couples, the young couple, the old couple. They go in, and there's kind of like just like drama and like just kind of them talking, but like trying to be polite and doing all these like sarcastic jabs at each other. And it just goes on through the night where it's just like kind of becomes more uncomfortable for the newer couple, but they get kind of sucked into it when they all just drink so much.
Oh yeah.
They just drink so much, and there's like many moments of like explosive outbursts and Martha's yelling, and then they're like, let's come on, baby. And Nick, everyone says kind of like their bad sides, and Nick is like he's just trying to move up in the university, and he didn't really he married Honey because she thought she was pregnant, and then she wasn't, and all this. And
she was puffed up.
Yeah, he's puffed up. Yeah, poof. And so he's just kind of more in it for his career and his ambition. And George is just like a fucking manipulative and loves drama, as does Martha. And they kind of go out through the night, and they eventually, Honey gets too drunk. Things kind of get out of hand. Secrets are revealed to one another. George goes to take all of them home when they should not be driving at like 4 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
But they stop at a bar because Honey wants to dance. They have this dance, and but things kind of get out of hand because there's a weird sexual tension between Martha and Nick. But she's kind of doing it to just piss off George, and Nick's doing it because he's the dean's daughter and like wants to bang her and move ahead. So
he said that earlier, that's the whole point.
That's like his thing is to kind of bang his way to the top because he's hot, and like also like smooze the older man, and like he's creeping that way, and so they they go on, and it kind of like it starts. The first half of the movie is very like it's not light, but it's like it's jib jab, you know what I mean? But then it's like as it goes on, it just like it just starts getting like sadder and heavier and like just kind of like tired. Like you could feel.
And I think the blend of reality
100%.
and joke and fictitious like jab really just it melds together so well that you don't even know. You don't know what's going on.
After the bar and the dance club, it's like they basically are full like past the line of which they usually go, George and Martha. They're like total war, baby. And so they're just like past the line. Martha leaves George there, and she picks up the young couple, takes him back, and then Honey passes out, and she tries to fuck Nick, and to kind of get at George and stuff, but then he can't finish or can't perform. It's like insinuated.
No, I thought he did, and he is a stud, and they did bang. But
I think
that
they
might
did.
just be more manipulation. Dude, that's the part
That's
that
the
I was like.
whole thing
the most
about this
confused.
movie, though. It's
But
like
that's
it's
what's
very
great,
like
is like it's ambiguous.
everything is like a double meaning, and everything has
Yeah.
like a fucking like everyone's like kind of lying to say something. They say the opposite of what they mean, and so it's really hard to
Right.
tell what's truth and what's not. My guess,
Yeah.
my feeling is that they did. Like he got it in, but couldn't come. Is my feeling.
That's what I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm assuming that he did. Yeah, he had the.
He
had the
couldn't.
old
He
whiskey-
couldn't
the old
perform, but he had
whiskey
the
dick.
whiskey dick.
A little
Right?
bit,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, but she was joking like, "Oh, he is a stud," just to get a George. Yes,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm at.
Yeah.
too,
George comes back. He
anyways,
walks
that's,
back.
That's
and
not the main. That's not
No.
the main. That's not the climax.
Yeah,
of
he
the
gets,
movie.
he's like with Honey and like they're talking and all this, and she loves violence and like, but
yeah, that's sick. Yeah.
he decides that he's gonna just like crush Martha's fantasy world, and they have like this fun game where they're trying to get at. He's trying to get at like the newer, younger couple and break them down, and like everyone's like fucking to their ends limits. Like everyone's been exposed for like the shitty people that they are, but like George and Martha like play in this such fantasy world, and so from what I understand of the ending, though, they keep talking about their son throughout the movie, but like don't bring it up, don't talk about our son, and it's like this very vague thing. But then at the end, he's like, our son died, and he drops all this shit to Martha, which is like definitely part of this weird mental game they got going on that like kind of shatters her, though. Like then she's forced to kind of confront, like the ending is like, okay, we've all gone too far, no more games, like now we're just sad. And
Yeah,
we have to face reality, like literally
Well,
as
the
sun
sobering
comes
light,
up.
the
Yeah,
sobering
exactly,
light of the
this-
day. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
great.
then-
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's like the sun comes up and Martha's no more. And it's just like, all right, let's go to bed. We're done, honey. You know what I mean? And fucking,
Right.
they leave, and it's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? There's like a song they were singing before they keep referring to, and he sings it to her at the end. Where earlier on it's like a joke, and then at the end he sings it to her as like more of like a lullaby, and she's like, I am afraid, and it's like of who I really am, of reality, like I don't know, like of living my true self, because I don't want to be my true self, and it's all mind games, which is
Really
why it's
and
such
that-
a
yeah.
perfect fucking play. So
Right.
that's the movie, but it is kind of vague, and like everything is kind of a little bit ambiguous. There's no objective truth.
Like you said, there's the double entendre, and then like the subtext between like Honey truly, because like Honey, I feel like to me is the main through line of like she's us, she doesn't.
Yeah,
really,
she's like the straight
audience.
man, right?
She
She's
doesn't
the
quite
audience
understand.
surrogate for sure.
So whenever she says something and then someone says something opposite or teases her about it, I feel like that's the truth to them. It's really interesting. Like, because when she talks about how like, oh, you told him I had a miscarriage, I think that Martha had a miscarriage like 16 years ago, and their kid didn't die, and they've just pretended that he's alive. I mean, that's my takeaway.
Yeah.
But I read that the original script of this, the rewrite, they were going to have the kid, they were going to find the kid hung. He hung himself and he was dead, and that was going to be like a flashback that they were going to show. And they were like, this movie's already brutal. Like, let's not.
I was
let's
really
not do that.
surprised.
And I think it's so much better.
I wasn't ready.
How it is now.
So
But
I wasn't ready. So let me first impressions. So you've seen this
First
before,
impressions.
right? And so
I have. Yeah, Victoria actually showed it to me.
Oh, cool.
Surprisingly enough, it was like one of the movies that she showed me that I've like never seen before.
That's
and
fun.
just like now, I could barely grasp what was going on throughout the whole thing. But like, I guess it's more like I understood. It's like I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, I get like the bits and the like back and forth and tit for tat and all their like who they are. But then when the credits roll, I'm just kind of like I'm like, what was real? Like, I mean, I think that's probably the point. But like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little too sharp. You know what I mean? It's like it's like I want to watch it again, like almost immediately, because it's like every bit of dialogue is so snappy and so fast, and like has context based later in the movie. And
exactly.
like, you know
That's
what I
what's
mean?
so good.
So like at the
yeah.
time, you don't really understand like what it is. Like George is like exactly when Nick is talking about Honey being puffed up and like her false pregnancy. George keeps
Right.
like mixing up the wives, and so that's like later
Yeah.
when you learn that like They also had some like infertility issues or miscarriage issues that it's like that scene kind of makes more sense in context. But it's like, yeah, the whole thing is like sort of a mess. It's really more about just like, it's mind games. It's literally just mind games, the whole thing. But like so overtly about it. And they fucking, every time drama comes out, George is like just fucking drools like at the hint of drama. It's great. But so I had never seen this movie. This is my first time watching it. And I'd heard about it over the years as like, you know, a classic. And I knew that it was, you know, like a play, like it was mostly dialogue. So I was like, oh, cool, you know. But that's pretty much all I knew. So I wasn't ready for like how like for like a mid-60s movie for not only I fucking loved this movie.
Like, right, me too, but like an actually well-made film. Yeah. Like that's on this watch, I really focused on that this time.
Yeah. And like it was surprising, and it like the way the
there's
filmmaking,
some great transitions.
The filmmaking like devolved too, like as the night went on and everyone got drunker and crazier. That's like there are more handheld shots. They're like literally like some shots where they're like a pan will turn, like pans that used to be so smooth with this old nice black and white set. Suddenly it's like a pan that's so jerky that it's like somebody bumped the camera almost to this new shot. It's great. But I wasn't ready for like, you know, we had just watched To Kill a Mockingbird, and that was like, oh, that's pressing some social norms with like holding a mirror up to our society and race and everything. But this one, it was like, I wasn't ready for like, it's not raunchy necessarily, but like for the time period, I'm like, I was pretty surprised how far they took stuff. You know what I mean? Like they really,
I can tell you right now,
the dialogue was pretty risky. Like even
dude,
now,
this got banned. This got banned in so. I mean, this would get banned in Texas now because it's like fucking. They talk about Schwarzmartians all the time.
Yeah,
but it's like they freaking. This was the MPAA's like highest like rated, in the sense that like it was still rated R, but it got the first rating of 18 or older must be accompanied with adult. Like that was
Which
it was the
so
first like hard
crazy,
R
like
movie, and it's like so yeah. Like it is, but like you said though, on this watch for me too, I also was like, wow, it really is like it's almost that 18 or older because of just the mature subject matter.
Yeah,
like,
the thematic, like it is not for children anyway. You know, there's
right. Really though, yeah. I mean,
and anyway, it's a grown up movie in every sense of the word, and but it's also like that's the thing, man. It's like it's very like pushing boundaries for the area of like talking about sex, and like this also kind of like showing this like quote unquote American dream couple, but like being more hateful, you know what I mean? Like showing this shit and like domestic abuse.
Well, it definitely. Dude, the abuse was rampant, and then also showing like, the corruption inside like an institution, which was wild. To me.
100%.
Like, that was cool. Where like on this watch, I definitely realized like I was like, oh, so like her fucking Martha's motivation, it's backed by the fact that she's kind of untouchable, so she can be just ruthless.
Yeah.
Because she's just kind of like a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I think she like, you can kind of tell she's like a little discontent with it, big time.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's kind of cool. But
it's
like
worn a little thin after all these years and all this bottles of gin. You know. Like,
I mean, really though, that dude, the amount they drink of this was like getting me thirsty.
It was
man.
brutal. Like they so much. They're like, here, let me refill you that like and 4 fingers of bourbon you just drank.
I know. It's her. What was? Is it? No. What did she like? What did
hers
the girl,
was gin?
Honey?
Hers was gin. Martha's was gin.
No, honey.
Brandy.
Honey would drink
Honey
brandy.
was brandy.
Brandy. She always, she's like, brandy, please, and like, and they just kept giving her, and she like would get sick, and God, dude,
Nick
so
was
funny.
his drink was Bergen. Yeah.
Yeah, Bergen. Well, I know that was so confusing. Like he wrote like a. It wasn't autobiographical because it was like it was a novelization of like a character he created, but was based on him.
But you
and so Martha knew that it was based on him. So she was teasing him, but yet I didn't know. I was so like this is one of those. Yeah, exactly.
If it's based on him, like
it's written so well that like at times I'm kind of like it's almost up its own ass, but in a good way.
Right. Well, it's because it's so dialogue driven that it's hard to call these like if this was a novel, you would definitely say these are like such unreliable narrators because they are. Yeah. But since it's so dialogue driven, it's like that's all you have to cling on to is what you're told, not really what you're seeing. And that's kind of like, I think the point too, is because it's like, you really can't tell what's a lie, what's a twisted truth, what's a full truth, what's an accidental truth, what is some game and a manipulation. And that's why it's so fucking good. Like, this screenplay, dude, is on fire. And like, obviously I imagine it's on fire on paper, but the performances that make it fire, it's like that's why this kind of movie's just for me. Like, a great script with great performances and like the filmmaking chops to just back it up and stick with the theme of it all.
And the tension was amazing. Every conversation was like building up to it was like it's its own self-contained climax. Like, every conversation you knew something was gonna happen, and then it compounded on itself as it went. And so like at the end, I was just kind of like, what is going? Like, it really was like everything was like devolving so fast. Like, I was like, did Martha fuck him? Like, is it like, what is like? Is anyone happy in this? Is that kid alive or dead?
Is
that
he
kid
real? Did he ever exist at all?
Is he real, man? That was like the whole time.
I know. Is George's story, is it himself? Is it partial truth? Is it like what he said in his monologue to Nick out by the swing, where it's like a friend that he knew?
Right.
Like, it could be any of the above, and that's kind of what's like great about it, because it says a lot about the characters and who they are. But it's definitely got such this weird nervous energy that I love. That it's like, it's funny, but every time you go to laugh, you're like I was laughing quite a lot in this movie.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But also at the same time, I'm like, like, should I be like? That's like
right.
Like they are not like I worry about them. You know what I mean?
I felt like honey the whole time, because every
like
time they're having an argument,
laughter,
I'm like,
I need a brandy.
I'm laughing. So I'm laughing to like cut the tension, because I'm like, what is happening? And dude, when Elizabeth Taylor houses that chicken fucking leg in the morning, or at the beginning, dude, holy crap, dude, that was beautiful. That is, to me, the opening scene where I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but that's my favorite. That's like my favorite whole run of the film, is literally when they come home. And it's the whole dialogue of what's that movie? Like, what's that line from, is amazing. That's so, everything about that is like, I'm like, that is such a solid film. So like, it's cool because this original play literally takes place in one location, like literally just in the living room. So there's no set changes or anything. It's just all blocked in there. And so like to like actually see this movie come to life and like go through the house and go through like a little bit of the town, but
well, that's how I knew
that opening, dude.
That's how I knew I was in for something special,
me.
right? Because like the beginning where they're talking about, I was like, oh, I was intrigued about the movie stuff, but it's just like when she takes a bite of that wing, just like drunkenly, not giving a fuck, just throws the bone back in the fridge.
She's disheveled, dude,
and then starts like, when she starts like cleaning up, she's just like throwing junk underneath like the rug, and she like puts a plate under the fucking cushions, and it just like, it says so much about, like, I was just like, okay, man.
They really
like,
work. They really work the room, dude.
Yeah.
Every time they're in there, and like all of her little details of eating the ice and shit. It's like, it's really well written.
That's great. Well, and it's like they're up. It says a lot, like, because I wasn't ready for it to go where it went, so I'm excited to watch it again. Because it's like earlier on, I'm like, oh, okay, this is snarky, right? This has got like a lot of snarky dialogue, especially for the time, where it's like it's like Mad Men, but like a little bit more like, yeah, baby, like.
Yeah, well, a little more sexist as Mad Men, I guess, is too. But but even more, it felt more authentic, because it's like 1966, and they think like they're like, this play is supposed to be like kind of mocking what it's like to be in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I'm kind of like, it's reinforcing what it's like to be in this relationship, and so it's cool to see this in 66, and like, what was To Kill a Mockingbird, was like 61 or 2 or something.
62, I think.
So it's crazy. I kind of almost like, man, it'd be fun to watch movies within the order. Like every year we watch one movie,
like
start from the decades, do every year to see the growth. Because this definitely feels like where To Kill a Mockingbird is that kind of like, it's destroying the like 50s ideal family. Yeah. Where this is like, oh wow, no, it really flipped on its head and it feels so authentic. It's great.
Yeah, this definitely feels like 66, like, you got to remember in history, like in America, it's like we were like going to get in war, like we were just coming into the hippie movement.
Show
like,
my age. Could women vote? Like, I don't even think. I'm like, I feel like an idiot. But
like,
when was that? That was like suffrage, right?
Yeah, it was like the 20s. And so
Yeah,
like the fucking like civil rights hasn't happened anything yet. Like, and everything's like ramping up to the late 60s counterculture. And this definitely feels like proto, because like whatever, I don't know a movie we're watching next week necessarily, but I gotta pick for the final week. I gotta pick like only late 60s weird shit.
Yeah,
because it's like
that'd be cool.
It is like by the time you get into like 68, 69, that's when things are really like
Well,
have
we're
shifted.
in Vietnam and like shit is
Things
shit's
have
changed.
things
dude.
have shifted culturally to being like this much more like the spell has been broken, and this feels like the start of that. You know what I mean? Like, and so that makes sense why it was so controversial. That because it's like at the time it's like, no, don't be saying these things about our institutions of marriage, of our Ivy League schools, of like climbing the like being a family man and like all these things. It's like so destructive, and it's like borderline satire on like what the the nuclear family and like this like whole like what you aspire to be. God, I keep hearing sirens and it freaks me out. But like yeah, man, I don't know. Like this movie did it for me, man. Like
I really like it. Like on this like rewatch, I'm happy. You need to watch it again because it's like,
I'm going to.
It's really fun to actually watch the movie.
I almost watched it again today. Because
I mean, really though,
I liked it that much. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. I wasn't on my phone for a second. Dude, at the end. I was like, "Wait, what's happening? Their son?" Because he's like, he's George is obviously saying like, "Oh yeah, a boy came with the telegram." I'm like, "No one came. What?
No one? Yeah. When was this? Because he's outside and he's like, "Yeah,
I got it.
He got in an accident or something, right?"
Yeah.
Like when he's telling himself, he's like convincing himself, and then he's like, "It's finally time to tell her."
Here's
and I'm
how
like,
I destroy her, because that's why everything goes so like fast. You know, because it's like when they're in the parking lot and he's like total war and she's like total, like right in each other's face, and they have the whole monologue about how she's like, "I'm not a monster," and then she tries to fuck Nick and succeeds and like belittles him. So he's
if anything,
how am I gonna
they
get
at least
back at her?
Yeah, right. Like I feel like the Nick situation is not. It doesn't matter if they banged or not. Obviously, it's just the fact that she took him into the room. You know, like it's just that even just insinuating that she would, I think, is enough to get at him. You know, like.
Well, yeah, Martha's like so much of her intention was to just humiliate George at every turn, and so it's like that is like the old. But then that's pushing it to the ultimate humiliation, like past words. Past him being like a failure, and he'll never be like what he could have been.
And I think that's it though. Like, but she loves him because she's with him, and the fact that he keeps up with her, I think, is a big indicator of like her respect, almost, I guess, if you will, respect or lack of a better term. I can't really think of like just the fact like. The reason they stay together. It feels like one where she feels independent enough that she wouldn't be with him unless she enjoyed his retorts and like his, you know.
I wouldn't want to call it like the intellectual stimulation of each other, like they can keep up with each other, because intellectual is not really the word, but it's like the weird fucking like just like their way
foreplay almost.
Exactly. Like, their
cadence
cadence with each other is this like. She literally says early on, like, that's when I like you most is when you're angry. You know what I mean? She says that right at the beginning before the other couple even shows up, and that's further reinforced because she's constantly fucking just picking at him. And, like, the scene, you know, it's pretty early on, so I knew it wasn't going to happen, but when he just, like, walks dead-eyed into, like, the pantry and gets the gun.
The gun! That's so good. That's such a good bit.
I jumped. Like literally, I'm like, he's not going to shoot her. Like, this is a fantasy or something. Like, what is this? Like, I'm like, it's too early. It's not going to turn into that kind of movie, I know. But then he gets up there, and I'm like, and then just bang, and, like, the fucking umbrella comes out, and fucking Honey just screaming. Like, it got me.
And that was edited so well.
So,
dude, I loved this movie. Like,
let's talk about the editing, dude, because, like, that's something I noticed early on. Is like since this movie is so dialogue driven, it flows so well. You almost don't realize it's cutting because the dialogue is so natural
100%.
sounding that they
Well, that's
must have
such a,
fucking
like-
just.
That's such a classic. That is such an old school trope. Like they don't really edit like that anymore. Where it's like huge one shots that seamlessly edit into each other, like blend into each other. I feel like nowadays we have a lot of just like it's a lot of like, shot, reverse shot, back and
boring.
forth, and you're getting
Which can be
they're
good, but
great.
like,
It works to a good effect, but there definitely is a large difference between it, and I think it's probably because reel to reel. I think that now that we can have continuous, shooting, it's a little different. But anyways, I think that one of my favorite scene transitions of this whole movie is when they're driving the car and it's like it whips and she's like, I want to stop at the roadhouse, and like the car like turns and then it cuts to her twirling.
Yeah, so good.
And
So
it shows
good.
her twirling and she's like, I'm dancing, like her like that.
She's like, I'm fast as the wind or whatever.
I'm fast. Like let me dance like the wind. Like, and she just she's, God, dude. Every character is great, but I loved that shot. That's such a good.
Oh yeah,
such a good transition.
It did that a lot because even when it cuts into them driving, it's like a whip pan to him driving, and he barely swerves on the road, and she's like, "Watch where you're going." He's like, "That road should have been straight."
That road should have been straight. Great line. And one of those things where I'm like, I want to know. Anybody out there in podcast land, please come to our YouTube, come to our Reddit. We're r/Cold Assimilative Knowledge. You can find us, Cold Assimilative Knowledge at YouTube, anywhere. Find us. Let us know. Is that in the play? Like, I guess I could just watch it myself or read it, but I want to know because they drive and they leave and they go to a roadhouse, but then I was reading that the play takes place in one location. So, like, I wonder if that's just a conversation about them driving one time.
They can dance in the house, too. I could see that getting, like, them getting drunk and putting on some music and dancing or something. But they, like, for the filmmakers, they're like, we don't have to do that. We're not limited by that. But, like, we could still keep the charm because it works having, like, that like, break to get out, because it's like that's kind of the turning point for the movie for me, is like everything up into then it's like it's sharp, it's witty, it's like digging at each other, but also like everything's the double entendre, and like it's like show her to the euphemism, telling her to the bathroom. It's like all these like just cute lines that are just like just melt in your mouth, right? But then it's like after things kind of go start going
Honey
too
gets sick.
far.
That's kind of I think that's
Honey
when it
gets
really
sick.
changes.
They go
And
to the bar and they're dancing, and like George fucking just loses. Like there's
because he starts spilling. They play that game where it's like, well, let's tell all the secrets then, like what was it called? I can't remember whatever. And he just like interrogate the host or whatever.
Yeah,
God, they were great. I loved all
the guests.
Get the guests. Yes, get the guests. That's great. And, there was another one that's like really, it was like really raunchy how he said it. God, because they screw the host or something. Screw the
Well, Nick and Martha were like grinding on each other, and like George was like trying to bond with like trying to make it. He kept calling like Honey sexy and stuff, like trying to like hey, but it just like does not work at all for him.
No, it's so
that's like not his angle, but it's just like it all explodes, and he just like fucking chokes her out in there,
dude. Yeah, that abuse apparently
absolutely blows up fucking Nick's secrets, and like that's the turn. Like them in the parking lot, that feels like
that was like
low. That's the low point. Like it turns,
and that was a real scene when he attacks her against the hood. She like knocked her head, and so like she was just like was freaking out. And so friggin' Elizabeth Taylor and whatever Richard Burton. Did you know they were married during?
Oh,
this?
really?
And
that's amazing. I had no idea.
And they had. I'm gonna run it down for you now. I told you earlier I had a list. They this is amazing. I had no idea. And apparently there's a bunch of documentaries out there, and I'm gonna watch one after we do the pod. They did 12 titles together, 12 films, all from 1963, ending in 1973. For like 10 years, they rocked it. And I don't know if I can't remember when they got divorced, but they got divorced like, after some period. I've got to look at it. I want to look into it now. Because as I was doing this research, I was like, it's like, oh, cool. They were like, married, and they were in it. And so I'm like, this movie, like, it's so crazy how, like, looking through her filmography, their filmography, the like movies they did together, I'm just like, oh man, I bet they're great. I bet like they have such good chemistry because it's bonkers, dude. Their chemistry's great.
I was blown away by everyone's acting, but yeah, them two specifically, their chemistry. Like I had heard, like I know a little bit about Elizabeth Taylor. Like I know her name, I know her her status. I haven't really watched a ton of her work, but it's like I know she's like Cleopatra, right?
Right, that's her
Richard
big one.
Burton,
She's in a lot of epics.
Never heard of this guy.
Yeah, dude,
and
me either.
He was so good. Like honestly, like Martha's probably the GOAT, but the two like they're tit for tat, man. Like everyone's great. The whole forecast is great, but like something about just like the subtle expressions of like just like Richard, George, right, is the character, like just trying to like get with stuff and like. Every time somebody like reveals a little bit of something, he's like, "Oh yeah," and like when he gets on the ground, like Nick's drunk on
at the swing,
and he's he starts like confessing and spilling his beans, and he like gets on the ground with him, like and gets him to spill his beans, and then he's just like, "Yeah, if anything I said was true or not." Like, it could all be a lie. And he's like, what the fuck, man? Like, fuck you. Because what is it he says? Oh, God, I don't know. I don't remember. Because the dialogue is too fast.
I think that's
for
the
me.
time.
It's too quick.
I think that's the time when he reveals, he does talk about how that's when he, at the swing is when he says, like, I only married Honey because I thought she was pregnant. And then she wasn't, but we were already married. Yeah. So he's, like, staying with her. But he's like, I don't care about her. I just want to bang my way through.
No, it's like when he walks in the house, he's like, up yours, and then it's like he does the whole thing. And it comes to up yours, all that. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just like, it's sort of sadistic too, and like highly masochistic. Like it makes sense like why this is like a classic. Because I kind of want to rewatch it like right now, which is like kind of rare for me, but it's just because it's like, it is so sharp and so fun. It like holds your attention, but it's like there's a lot going on with the chemistry and the characters that it's like I feel like I've only just scratched the surface between like knowing how it ends up to like seeing some of the dialogue earlier on, knowing more about their relationship. Because early on, first time watching it, you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is this old bickering couple kind of, and they've been together a little too long, but they're kind of cutesy and on each other's nerves, and Martha's kind of a fucking condescending bitch, and George is just kind of like a snarky, like thinks he's smarter than everyone. But like now knowing that like all the crazy mind games they play to the point of like maybe making up a son or pretending that they don't, pretending their son's alive, like that's like how they get off on each other. It's just, I want to watch it again just for the earlier context, because at the very end, when he comes in with the flowers, and she's like, "Oh, thank you," and they like are kind of like friends again, because it's like, she's like, "That's the only man that's ever made me happy is George," and Nick's like, "Him? You gotta be fucking kidding me!" And he's like, "No, like he gets me," but it's like because they're just as rotten as each other. Like they deserve each other.
I think that's
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Like,
I think that is It's definitely that like. Yeah, they do deserve each other. That's a great way to put it, because it's like they complete each other. I think that's what I was saying earlier too. Is like she respects him because he'll play along, and like where Nick was like he was just like trying to not manipulate even. He was just trying to be there, and like he just seems naive, and like he couldn't keep
he's
up
an
with her.
amateur manipulator compared to the two of them.
Right. Right. Like he uses less like intelligence and more just physical appearance,
he's got he's a hard body, you know what I mean? He's
right, a hard body for sure. And I think he just kind of prides on desperation too, like that he can he's like sensing it. But where Martha, I think, is like Martha's like, oh, I'm not desperate, like that's her whole thing is like he thinks he's like, oh, I got her wrapped around my finger, and she's like, no, I'm in control of the whole situation, and so that was I like that a lot.
Which is like she is in control, like you say, she's untouchable, but it's just like she's also just so unhinged that it's just like I don't want to be in the situation that she has control of, man. Like,
no, I was exhausted, dude. And this is dope because it's basically it's a one 24-hour movie, because
which we love.
but it's not 24 hour. Dude, that made me. I don't remember that detail at all. That they left at 2 a.m. They left a party, and then they invited people over at 2 a.m. I get like people party and go out and everything, but like you're at a party at 2 a.m. partying, like you don't leave and then go out.
My
like
wife,
to like that, like a family thing, like it's or like a like an intimate thing. Like I get going to an after party and partying and getting drunk with a group of people. But like being like, it's 2 a.m. I'm gonna invite these people we don't really know very well.
Yeah,
over.
near strangers that we met tonight. That is just like new to our community at like 2 a.m. Because literally he's like, yeah, it's Sunday now, very early Sunday morning or whatever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, we're closer in age to Nick and them, but it's like, how are these? George and Martha are like late 40s or whatever, but it's like. My wife would never do it now. My wife would never invite anyone over after like 8 p.m., let alone...
No,
you know what I mean?
No, I want you to leave at 10. Like, get out of my house.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. That's what's crazy to me. It's just like, who are these people? Are they just like firing off some of that sweet 60s cocaine? Like, how are they up? And they're
I don't know.
hammered, man. Like
they're drinking constantly. Like, I don't know.
Do they even drink the coffee? Because, like, they go out of the room and Martha makes coffee, but I don't think they ever drink the coffee. They just keep drinking booze.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, I don't know, man. they've been drinking around the clock.
It's funny because, like, earlier on, like, Honey kind of annoyed me a little bit. Just because it's like, we all know a Honey that gets, like, too drunk and is, like, never gets that drunk. And so she's just, like, super extra and, like, can't hold her liquor, you know? It's like we've all met a Honey, but it's just like as it went on, it's just like I don't know. It's just like she became so endearing and like through her drunkenness, like she's such an interesting character because, like you said, she's like the surrogate for the audience. But like seeing her bits of like her personality come through in snaps.
Well, and that she does devolve, and it's like she's one of the saddest characters when it comes down to it. But I think she wants excitement, but
I don't want to have a baby. And it's like, that's what's like true. It's like the hysterical pregnancy. Did she lie? It's like she's taking, it's like insinuates that she might be like taking pills or something to like make it so she doesn't get pregnant or like terminates her pregnancy on purpose because she doesn't want to get hurt is the word she used. And it's like what is like, that could mean so many things. And it's like that's what's like all the dialogue in this can mean multiple things.
Right.
And like that's what's kind of great. But like even her just like shouting for like yay violence, you know, when things are about to pop off at the bar, and I'm like,
dude, when she's in the
chick?
Car,
like I love it. I'm like into it now.
Me too. Yeah, like when it's when she's in the car and she's like, I love brandy. You got any more? You got any more brandy?
Yeah, it's good.
You can't stop her, dude.
And you got a money minute?
I do, yeah. I wanted
with the older ones too. But.
I had a fun little tidbit that I think you'd find interesting. This film was like one of the only films in the Academy to get nominated for every category it could. Every single person that worked on this film got an Academy nomination. And
oh wow, nice!
I'm pretty sure. I know that Elizabeth Taylor won. And then I think Honey won, that actress.
Yeah, I saw that, and I think it won Best Adapted Screenplay, rightfully so.
Yeah, right, cool. But anyways, that's wild that it got nominated. Like every single person got nominated for every category it could, and this was the last black and white film to be nominated for an Academy Award because of its black and white film. It's weird. They stopped doing that category. So
they stopped. Yeah, they stopped doing best black and white picture or whatever, or best cinematography black and white or something.
Yeah, exactly. This is the last one.
I know. I feel bad. Like I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, but next week's movie we're gonna watch High and Low. But even Andrei Rublev, both of those movies are black and white, and I'm like, the '60s. It's not like the '60s were like the '30s. Like color's been around for a long time at this point.
But dude, no, think about it though. That's it's all cyclical. Like the whole world is just like a flat disc. Like we always come back to it. So like in the '60s, they were doing black and white because probably film or probably financial reasons as well.
Yeah.
You know, technical reasons, financial, but also like nostalgic, like historical
That's
reasons
true, yeah.
as well. You know, like it's like they are doing movies from the 30s, like they're making epics. I mean, she's in Cleopatra in the 60s, which is actually funny because it's in color. But yeah, so it's just like, I don't know, it's very interesting how those things come around.
It's like very similar. It's disarming now watching in the year 2024 because I said the same exact thing for Last Picture Show, where it's like the black and white makes it feel a little bit older than it is, especially to us now. So it's like when things are a little bit more like quote unquote progressive or like pushing boundaries about like certain messages and certain themes, they always are like more of a gut punch and more effective to me because I'm like, oh yeah, like this is still the 60s, which it was a time of like, cultural revolution or whatever, an awakening, but like I can't even still fathom that because that was still so long ago compared to my life, let alone me thinking like going back and watching all these films. I'm like, watching this feels like it could have been made in the 50s. Same, like, but not with the themes, right? But just the look.
Yeah.
You start with the look. And the black and white really, like, confuses the time period almost for me. But in a way that I think is very
makes
interesting.
it timeless.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
But
Last Picture
like you
Show,
said,
like I said, same thing.
Right.
But, man, like,
I
love
love black and white. I love that. This is the most black and white we've watched in a long time. So
we
it's
talked
pretty cool.
about doing a black and white month, but we don't have to now.
No, we really don't. Because like we're watching another. I can't believe we've had 3 movies in a row, black and white.
3 movies in a row.
No, not
almost
in a row.
4. No.
Oh, because Last Picture Show was, So we've watched 4 in the last month, but yeah.
But 3 in a row because
Anyways.
fucking
To Kill
To Kill a Mockingbird this and then High and Low next week is also black and white.
I know.
So-
Let's see. Put another black and white.
No,
Let's see if we
the
get it.
last I'm gonna specifically because it's like there is a
Oh, yeah,
richness
that's right.
to that 60s
The
like
60s.
Technicolor.
It does. Because you put Goldfinger on the list, and I was like, God, that's like one of the best looking Bond movies. So
exactly.
It's like,
Even earlier on the month, like Cool Hand Luke and stuff. So it's just like the last month. The last week, I'm going to make sure that every movie's in color at least.
It's color.
Okay.
Okay.
It does go to show, though, because I'm looking up. Obviously, I haven't seen a lot of these 60s movies, and that's the whole point we've done this month. But obviously, like a lot of the best movies from the decade are black and white, which is an interesting choice because it's like, like you say, it's like it is like a throwback, and it is because it's like it is cheaper unless you're like a big studio film. You're usually not getting the high color unless you have like this huge budget. But like, that's how you get the scrappier movies that push forward like the rawness that we get full blown in the 70s, right? Where it's like everything's grimy and raw in the 16 millimeter 70s. And it's like,
but
it started here, baby. Wow.
Yeah, and on budgetary reasons, this movie is whack, dude. How much do you think this movie would cost? Like, think about it.
It's so
think about
hard
it
for me to like guess on a movie that's like this old. You know what I mean?
Let me look. So I've got my notes here.
Everything
To
costs
Kill
$1 billion
Mockingbird
now. Oh yeah.
Well, I know, right? So To Kill a Mockingbird was $2 million.
Okay.
So think of that. I mean, it's been 5-year difference between Kill a Mockingbird and this. How much do you think this movie?
About the same. I would say maybe a little more because even though it's less set, there is a little bit more kind of going on. Like technically, like you could tell the limitations of Kill a Mockingbird.
It's all shot on location.
Yeah,
that adds a cost for sure because this is Mike. What is it? Mike Nichols. Yeah. This is his first
The Graduate.
film.
Yeah.
This is his directorial debut. He did The Graduate, and he did. Dude, do you remember Closer? Did you ever see that? I can't believe he directed that. I like Closer, but like it's crazy.
I don't remember Closer. I know. Oh. I know it. I saw that. Because I had to look up his filmography after this too, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. Like I remember that it exists, and I remember kind of about it, but I don't remember watching it. So who knows? But it does seem odd, right?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Closer's cool too. So we maybe we'll watch that one day. But anyways, this movie was $7 million.
Wow, that's a lot. Like for 1966,
Let me tell you why.
It's
Let me break it
100%
down.
dialogue heavy. Like,
Yes, 100% dialogue. Like there's literally like it's and a directorial debut. You don't have to pay a director that is just starting out. They get paid the least amount of money that any director can get paid.
Yeah.
So like it's like wild to me. So when I saw $7 million, I like it's like 7.5. Like I was like coughing, dude.
It's wild.
Do you know why though? I will tell you, because Elizabeth Taylor was a fucking star, dog.
Yeah.
Her budget alone was 1.1 million. That is bonkers, dude. And then it goes down from there to Burton. His was 750,000 for his money, and they had to pay Albee, the original writer. They had to pay him 500,000.
It's like the most a writer's ever made.
Yeah. No, really. Well, no. Dude, do you want to know what's great? I had another little factoid. So what is this? I'm gonna look at his
Nobody
name.
pays writers.
No, really though. But this is hilarious because I got a lot of money info on this one because it's really crazy. But so Ernest Leham or whatever, he wrote the adaptation for the film, and he literally, like, he says it as a joke. It was like a jab, but he got paid $250,000 to write it, to adapt it, and they totally, Elizabeth Taylor and Burton, they just riffed off of the original script from the play.
Oh, really?
And they didn't use his dialogue. And so like he made a joke where he's like, I got paid for 2 lines, 150,000 each or whatever, like 125,000 each
great.
for my 2 lines that they used. But it's crazy how they paid him $250,000. Like it's pretty dope how these people were getting paid, dude, off this movie.
That's rightfully so, though. That's awesome,
Yeah.
honestly, because it's like, obviously that's like a huge, like, we pay today, like, fucking, however godly amount that Tom Cruise or whoever makes, how much they pay Robert Downey Jr. and shit, but, like, it to, like, a movie that's 100% reliant on the writing and the acting, like, that's the movie, and if you don't have those at the top of their fucking game, this doesn't get nominated for every Academy Award ever made, you know what I mean? And it did.
Right.
Because, so obviously that was money well spent, but, like,
But
and it's
like,
crazy because they don't, like, the stars I can see, but they do not pay writers like that anymore. Like, they used to, back in the day, they used to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to option the script, blah, 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 blah. It reminds me of that joke in 30 Rock when they're, like, talking about, like, oh, this movie is being made by Steven Spielberg and the best writer in the world, whoever that is. Like,
whoever that is. I know, really, though. Well, I love it, dude. Do you know M. Night Shyamalan is, like, one of the biggest paid writers? Like, he, like, wrote The Sixth Sense and they bought it for, like, $1 million or something. It was crazy, dude.
that is
So
crazy.
anyways, yeah, but anyway, yeah, these writers.
So
are
how
getting
much
paid
did
that,
how much did it
so-
make?
So it was, 7.5 million to make, which is still, honestly, for everyone, all the cast getting paid, like, almost $3 million. Still, the fact this movie was like $3.5 million to make is kind of a lot for me. Like, I'm just like, this is like Clerks. It could be made for 20 grand. Like, I don't. It's like, it's literally just.
I feel like we could make this movie if we had 4 friends. And, but, like, obviously wouldn't be as good, but it's like, yeah, we could do it.
It just seems, I know, right? It's like practically, it just seems like such an easy, like, this couldn't have been more than 20 days to shoot. Like, this could have been, they could have shot this in a weekend.
The
like,
exterior, there's a couple exterior car stuff, but the rest is, like, just them with a projection on the back of them when they're in the car.
Right.
And that's it. Like, everything,
I know. And that's what's funny is, like, I enjoyed the film of this, but it's just hilarious how I was like, I was like, To Kill a Mockingbird has a lot more going on when it comes to, like, built sets that would cost more money to me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
It's like a whole street and, like, a courthouse and everything.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Taylor got paid more than half the budget of that movie.
Exactly, yeah. But, which is crazy to show, like, she is a starer. But, I mean, it made $33 million.
Oh,
so
nice. Yeah.
It was, I mean, it, like, kind of a no-brainer. People, and it just, dude, that just goes to show, man, people really were, like, I mean, I'm going to sound like a boomer right now, but, like, people are not seeing movies anymore.
No.
Really
and it's like you pay for what you, like, now I do feel like you just, like, a lot of what this or the film industry is, like, imploding a little bit, but it's because you're spending $600 million on a movie that no one, like, it's just, I don't know. It's like, it's not the money well spent. Like, this feels like money well spent. You know what I mean? Like, $7 million is a lot of bucks for this kind of movie, but it's just like, in the modern day, like, you could do that and you could pay you you could fucking pay a buttload of money to get Daniel Day-Lewis out of fucking retirement or something to
I
come
know,
be
right?
in your adaptation of a play, and it's like it would be the greatest movie ever made. But
I know. I really was just thinking. You actually blew my mind. If Daniel Day-Lewis came to play, I mean, I guess it'd be more like it'd be like a Phantom Thread type. But like,
No.
dude, if he
he's
came out to play
George
this,
in the remake.
that would be George, dude. If he was George, oh my god, that'd be amazing, dude.
But like, nobody would go see it. Like that's the thing. It's like
yeah, I know.
everyone.
Nobody would. Yeah.
I mean, all the fucking film nerds would jerk off and it'd win some
Sure,
awards,
but
but
it would cost $33 million to make it today, and it would gross 28. Like it would.
exactly,
It would be like,
yeah, it'd probably cost
yeah.
more than that even, and it's like,
God, yeah.
that's what's I don't know. Like you say, people. This is some boomer thing. It's like people used to go to movies. Like it's sometimes it's much. So like because we're going to see Alien this weekend.
I know, but that's because it's a 50-year-old franchise almost or whatever. It's like so it's like of course we're gonna go see Alien because we love it and it and it will. It's the only reason the studio made it is because it's a franchise. Like we're seeing it because we're hip and pure and we know.
If you're on the YouTube, I don't know where to hang this, so it's just
whatever. It's good. It's good there.
You've seen my office. There's no room on my walls. I gotta take something. I gotta take something down.
I like to believe there's nothing else on any of your walls except this corner that I see.
I know, right? And it's like it keeps going up, and I'm like, I should bring all the good stuff down. Look, man, it takes a chance.
Oh God, dude, no, you're gonna reveal your secrets.
I know. I'm gonna dox myself. Like, oh, my social security card. Why is that been there?
Oh darn, yeah. Oh no, my Ku Klux Klan hood.
Uh-oh. So anyway. Let's button it up. This movie, I got like one Reddit. Let me read.
Oh yeah, let's hear it. I bet it's from my best friend.
Yeah. Oh crap! I backed out of it. Okay, so yeah, Clones of People 2 says my second watch of this, and I really like this film. The dialogue is great, and the acting really does it justice. All 4 characters are magnetic as they spew barbs at each other. The camera work and blocking is fantastic too. The tensions in the scene with the shotgun is built expertly, and the camera seems to dance back and forth between all the emotional damage that is coming to light. From what I've read, the film came just at the end of the Hays Code, and the dialogue and characters were shocking to audiences, so this is an important work in modernizing film from the sterile days of the Code. Oh, yeah, the Hays... like when we were talking about it, I kind of forgot about the Hays Code. Yeah, you're right.
I know. I always think the Hays Code is like... It ended in like 50, 59 or whatever, 60, but I guess it went
I guess
longer
it was
into
right into there. That makes sense. So, anyway, he goes on to say, however, I found the film to be a bit draining. It's so dialogue heavy and there's so much going on with the characters that I felt emotionally drained by the end. Overall, I think this is a must-see of 60s drama and a force of acting from the leads. 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I should have went
It's
on
definitely one to be seen, but
I
get you, dude. Like, this was... For me, I wasn't really in the mood, and so but it got. I mean, it's like the second, like they said, when they start talking, and when she just bites that chicken,
dude, when she digs into the chicken, I was like, all right, bud.
I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of like, the energy's great, but it does. I know what you mean. Like, I am. By the end of it, I'm kind of confused, and it is, it's emotionally like.
I was feeling that in the third act, I was feeling like it slowed down quite a bit. Like, it's still pretty tit for tat, but it's like it's definitely got heavier. It's not as like witty. There is like
the low point is at the bar for sure.
Yeah,
like, you know
and
what
then
I mean?
coming back, but it's just like that makes sense so much, like contextually with the rest of the movie, that it's like I'm tired. The night's been going on. They're tired. Things have gone too far. Everyone's drunk. It's like 5 a.m. You know what I mean? And this fucking like emotional damage. Like I'm feeling the drain. Like, it's effective. Like, it's like a movie. Yeah. Like, Mary, my wife, she, I always say, like, I like a movie, not always, but I like a movie that challenges me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I like a movie that's like...
Just like my music.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the one that's always brought up is like, oh, God, why am I spacing it? The fucking Safdie brothers with
Good Times? Or Gems. Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. Everyone always says Uncut Gems because it's just one giant anxiety attack. And people don't see their movies for that. And I feel like there definitely is a little bit of that in this. Like, you feel emotionally drained from all the fucking just hurling and damage and like exhaustion, and how fast everything moves, and how you don't like you feel like you're being gaslit as an audience member.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, I don't even know what if anything you're saying is true anymore. I don't know who I am. Is great. like I don't know. I like that a lot, but I 100% see where you're coming from with that. Mr. Clones are people too, but I think it's a positive. At least this time around. This was my first viewing, and I had no expectations, so it really blew my socks off. I wonder on repeat viewings if I will feel the same, because it's like I didn't really know what mood I was in, but it hit perfect for me. So anyway,
I liked it. Thank you.
We made it an hour, Jordan. We trudged our way through.
Nice.
I saw there for a minute. We were like,
I know. I mean, I checked the time once or twice because I like, as much as I love this film, I kind of feel like it speaks for itself a lot too.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like you kind of just gotta watch it.
I'm gushing over it.
So, because it is just people talking. You know what I mean? It's
right.
The in depths. Like I wish I could write a play or a movie that's just like 100% dialogue and character driven, because it's just like it's hard to keep someone engaged for.
That's what's crazy, dude.
This is over
really
2 hours.
Yeah,
like this is over 2 hours of people just fucking talking at each other and like just but like viciously. It's like viciously and like like nothing but lies and fucking insults and veiled threats, and it's like, you know, you've been warned, you know, constantly. But yeah, big fan.
Yeah,
so,
we usually do like, if you like this, watch this, and I think we've probably mentioned Tape before, but Tape is a great like
I was just
thriller
thinking about
for
Tape.
this. Like that's like it feels like this movie, but Tape has like you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and so like that's where this you're kind of like, what are they? You're not really like, there's not like sustained suspense in this movie, and where Tape, like the whole time it's like it's building to like one climax.
It's
where this has so many
like,
little ones.
Yeah, you're swept up in the chaos in this movie, whereas Tape is like, it's this building of like the dread almost. Like, when is it like? What's like? There's something here that's just not good. And it's just under the surface, and when's it gonna boil over? You know what I mean? Tape rules.
Yeah.
Linklater's the dude. Like, so.
I mean, yeah.
Go watch that. I was thinking about Tape too as like, you know, bottle movies,
and it's a relationship that's like you don't know what is going on. I mean, Tape is a little more revealing, but like you still like, I don't know, you don't know who loves each other and what's going on. It's great. So
we should learn how to act so that we can just make a movie for no money and just
I know
dialogue.
I know, I love it.
Anyway, thank you for listening. We already said it. We're watching High and Low next week. If you made it this far, thank you very much. It did tie with Andrei Rublev, but we decided to go with High and Low for a couple of reasons. But that just means we're going to watch Andrei Rublev one day. I haven't seen either, so I'm excited to watch High and Low. Another Kurosawa movie on the list, which I feel like you kind of got to. He's the dude, so yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you guys. If you're feeling generous, come to our Patreon. It's Patreon Coldest Minute Knowledge, and you can throw us a bone. And we've got bonus episodes going on there. We're gonna do a bonus episode for Rommel Domelon, the alien Schlomalong. And so that'll be pretty fun. Yeah, it's gonna be the Romulus, dude.
Yeah, I'm into it.
It's gonna be pretty fun.
Should be good. So High and Low, and then check out. We're gonna see Alien this weekend. We should do one about that. So go to the Patreon if you want to hear us talk about that movie. So,
hell yeah.
Right on. Thank you, everyone, and so long. Farewell.
Good night.